Imagine a monarch touched by the divine, gifted with a mind so sharp that his insights echoed through the ages. Envision a leader so revered that dignitaries from the farthest corners of the earth embarked on arduous journeys, braving months of travel simply to bask in the brilliance of his discourse. This is Solomon, the scion of David, the legendary Golden King of Israel. But the gilded image, the towering palace walls, and the overflowing coffers conceal a narrative that has been largely relegated to the footnotes of history, a tale obscured by the mainstream narrative. It's a story that transcends the familiar verses of your childhood Bible lessons. It's a narrative whispered through the corridors of time, etched into the brittle pages of forgotten manuscripts, and guarded within the deepest recesses of historical memory. This is the story of the day. The Archangel, Michael the celestial warrior, the very embodiment of God's might, stood face to face with the 72 demons that Solomon in his extraordinary power once held in thrall. Let the weight of that image settle upon your mind for a moment. The wisest mortal to ever walk the earth, inextricably bound in a struggle with forces so profoundly dark that the heavens themselves were compelled to intervene. Michael the Archangel, who vanquished Satan in the celestial realm, now drawn into a mortal contest with the very spirits that Solomon had once bent to his will. Does this not ignite a burning curiosity within you? Does it not make you question the extent of our true understanding of Solomon's saga? Could it be that the scriptures provide only a fleeting glimpse, while the more profound enigmas were deliberately omitted, veiled from our comprehension? And if Solomon truly wielded dominion over demons, what rationale could possibly justify divine sanction of such an act? What implications does this ancient struggle hold for our lives today, in this modern world? Stay with me, for by the time we reach the end of this journey, your perception of Solomon and Michael will be irrevocably transformed. But before we plunge into the depths of this mystery, allow me to extend a warm welcome to Bible Mysteries, your sanctuary for exploring the obscured and often forgotten narratives embedded within Scripture and ancient texts. If you possess a passion for unraveling the secrets of the divine, the angelic, the fallen, and all that lies in the enigmatic space between, then I invite you to show your support by pressing that like button, subscribing to our channel, and activating the notification bell, ensuring that you never miss the unveiling of a new mystery. When the name Solomon resonates in our minds, what singular image springs forth? For the majority, it is the portrait of a sagacious king seated upon his majestic throne, his countenance serene, his words imbued with profound insight. A man who, with a single decisive pronouncement, resolved a dispute between two women claiming motherhood of the same child, a judgment that reverberated throughout the world and continues to astound us to this day. A man whose wisdom attained legendary status, whose reputation radiated far beyond the geographical boundaries of Israel. But here's the crux of the matter. Concerning Solomon, his narrative is a tapestry of intricate layers, each revealing a different facet of his character. On the surface, we encounter the Golden King, the architect of the magnificent temple of the Lord, a symbol of piety and devotion. However, as we excavate deeper, as we strip away the shimmering gold and the opulent royal vestments, we unearth something altogether different, something far more complex. We discover a man who possessed unparalleled access to divine wisdom, a gift bestowed upon him by God himself, yet simultaneously found himself ensnared by the most insidious temptations emanating from the depths below. Let us pause and truly contemplate the essence of Solomon's being. He was not merely a random ruler, a figurehead devoid of significance. He was the son of David, arguably the most celebrated king in the entire history of Israel, a man whose legacy cast a long and formidable shadow. From the moment of his birth, an extraordinary expectation was placed upon Solomon, a weight he carried throughout his life. Can you fathom the pressure of being the offspring of David, the man who was said to be after God's own heart, the valiant warrior who vanquished giants and single-handedly forged a kingdom? Imagine the immense burden of having to not only live up to, but surpass that towering legacy. Now when Solomon ascended to the throne and commenced his reign, he embarked on his journey with a profound sense of humility. The scriptures recount that he beseeched God for wisdom, not for material riches, not for temporal power, and certainly not for the demise of his adversaries. And God, deeply moved by the sincerity and selflessness of Solomon's request, granted him wisdom in such abundance that it surpassed that of any individual who had come before him or would come after. Concomitant with wisdom came wealth beyond measure, a prolonged era of peace, and a kingdom that shone with unparalleled splendor. Kings and queens from distant lands journeyed to witness his magnificence firsthand, and the Queen of Sheba herself arrived bearing lavish gifts, her eyes wide with amazement at his unparalleled brilliance. So yes, without a doubt, Solomon was a truly great king. But here's a crucial truth that is often overlooked. The higher one ascends, the more treacherous the temptations that lie in wait. The greater the light one emits, the more desperately the shadows seek to engulf it. And it is here that the narrative takes an unexpected and decidedly strange turn, because according to ancient traditions that lie outside the canonical scriptures, writings such as the Testament of Solomon, Solomon's wisdom extended far beyond the realms of judicial pronouncements and the solving of perplexing riddles. It delved into territories that were far more profound and potentially dangerous. It was said that Solomon was bestowed with a mystical ring, a ring intricately engraved with the seal of God, a symbol of immense power and authority. With this ring, he possessed the ability to command not only mortal beings, but also ethereal spirits, both benevolent and malevolent. Now let us pause for a moment and truly contemplate the implications of that statement. A king endowed with the authority to issue commands to demons. How would you even begin to process such a notion? Would you perceive it as a divine gift, a formidable burden, or an irresistible temptation? The narrative unfolds, revealing that Solomon employed this ring to summon, interrogate, and even exert control over 72 demons, each possessing unique attributes and capabilities. Each demon possessed a name, a designation that defined its very essence. Each wielded a distinct power, a specific means of influencing the mortal realm. Some possessed the capacity to ignite the flames of anger within the hearts of men, driving them to acts of violence and destruction. Others possessed the ability to warp the human mind, inducing madness and irrationality. Still others whispered insidious lies in the darkness, igniting the destructive forces of lust, jealousy, and hatred. And some brought physical affliction, blinding diseases, and sudden misfortune upon unsuspecting mortals. In essence, each of the 72 demons embodied a specific facet of human weakness, a tangible manifestation of the sins and struggles that we confront on a daily basis. Does this not stir a sense of introspection within you? Does it not make you wonder whether these demons were merely symbolic representations of the very flaws and vulnerabilities that would eventually contribute to Solomon's own downfall? According to the legend, Solomon bound these demons and compelled them to labor in the construction of the temple of God, the most sacred structure on earth. Picture that for a moment. The most sacred place on earth, the house of Yahweh, being erected not only by the hands of mortal men, but also by the reluctant and resentful hands of snarling demons, all under the command of a king wielding the power of a divine ring. It sounds almost blasphemous, does it not? Angels and demons collaborating on the same project, a concept that seems inherently contradictory. Yet in a strange and paradoxical way, it reflects a profound truth that continues to resonate in our world today. Even evil, often unwittingly, can be utilized to serve God's grander, more intricate plan. But here lies the haunting detail. These demons never truly submitted to Solomon's authority. Their compliance was merely a facade, a temporary state of subjugation. They were not loyal subjects, nor did they undergo any form of spiritual transformation. They remained chained, coerced, and bound solely by the power of the seal upon the ring. Deep within their malevolent hearts, they harbored an intense hatred for Solomon, despising him for invoking God's name against them, for exploiting their very essence for his own purposes. And so they waited patiently, biding their time. They waited for the moment when his grip would falter, for the day when the ring would be lost or stolen, for the hour when Solomon's heart would deviate just enough from its divine course to allow them to break free from their confinement. And as we know, that moment did indeed arrive, for Solomon, despite his extraordinary wisdom, possessed a critical weakness. The scriptures themselves tell us that he loved many foreign women, women who hailed from distant lands and adhered to different faiths. And along with these women came their idols, their altars, and their arcane religious practices, slowly but surely infiltrating Solomon's life. Slowly and quietly, Solomon permitted influences into his life that gradually distanced him from God, a shrine erected here, an altar consecrated there, each a seemingly innocuous compromise that ultimately coalesced into a heavy and unbreakable chain. The very man who had once prayed for divine wisdom was now bowing before idols, offering sacrifices to false gods. The very man who had constructed the temple of the Lord was now permitting the presence of false deities within the sacred land. And as his heart strayed from its divine path, so too did his authority diminish. According to the legend, the power of the seal upon the ring began to wane, its radiant glow gradually fading. The demons he had once controlled, the very entities that had toiled in the construction of the temple, began to stir their resentment, intensifying. Can you not almost visualize it? Dark forces shifting ominously in the shadows, whispering conspiratorially amongst themselves, "The king is faltering. His heart is no longer pure. Soon he will be ours." This is the point where the tension escalates, dramatically reaching a fever pitch. Because what transpires when the wisest man alive loses control over the very darkness he believed he had mastered? What happens when the chains that bind the malevolent forces begin to shatter, releasing them into the world? And here lies a deeper, more profound question. Does Solomon's struggle not mirror our own human condition? How many times do we believe that we are firmly in control of our habits, our desires, our secret struggles, only to realize often too late that the very thing we believed we were controlling is now exerting its control over us, dictating our actions and shaping our destinies? Is this not the inherent danger of sin, the deceptive illusion of mastery, when in truth we are the ones enslaved, bound by chains of our own making? Solomon's story serves as a stark warning, a cautionary tale of the perils of complacency and the importance of unwavering faith. And in this legend, the narrative extends even further, delving into realms beyond our ordinary comprehension. The danger became so immense, so all-encompassing, that the heavens themselves were compelled to intervene. God's greatest warrior, the Archangel Michael, the same celestial being who waged war against Lucifer in the celestial realm, had to descend into the mortal world and step into the fray. Think about that for a moment. Michael the Archangel, who commands legions of heavenly warriors, descending to confront the very spirits that Solomon had once bound. What does this tell us about the sheer power and malevolence of those 72 demons? That it was not just any angel, but Michael himself who was sent to confront them. The story of Solomon transcends the simple notion of wisdom. It evolves into a cosmic battle between the forces of heaven and the abyss between the embodiment of holiness and the epitome of corruption. And it all originated because a man who was once intimately close to God allowed his heart to stray from the divine path. Now I implore you to imagine this gripping cliffhanger, Solomon alone and vulnerable within the confines of his palace, surrounded by the shimmering glow of gold and the fragrant aroma of incense. The ring that once blazed with the power of God now lies dull and lifeless in his hand, a mere trinket devoid of its former significance. And from the darkest corners of the night, a chorus of laughter rises low, mocking and undeniably demonic as the 72 demons prepare to shatter their chains and unleash their malevolence upon the world. And somewhere beyond the veil of mortal perception, Michael, God's champion, unsheaths his sword of light, preparing to engage in battle. The stage is set for an epic confrontation. Let us now delve into the heart of the darkness for a moment. The Temple of Solomon stands complete, its stones shimmering brilliantly in the sunlight, its walls echoing with the fervent prayers of the faithful. The smoke from sacrifices ascends like a holy fragrance toward the heavens, a testament to the piety of the people. But behind the facade of beauty and serenity, hidden beneath the surface, something sinister stirs. The 72 demons are no longer dormant. They are awakening, preparing to unleash their malevolence. Now, according to ancient tradition, these were not merely nameless, amorphous spirits, devoid of identity or purpose. Each possessed a distinct personality, a unique power, and a specific method for corrupting or afflicting the mortal realm. They were not chaotic shadows, lacking form or substance. They were organized, deliberate, and possessed a cunning intelligence. And is this not always the modus operandi of evil? It does not simply burst forth as a grotesque monster brandishing fangs and claws. It insinuates itself subtly, slipping into the cracks of our defenses, whispering insidious temptations, planting seeds of doubt, and exploiting our inherent weaknesses. The stories recount that Solomon interrogated each demon, demanding its name, its purpose, and the specific sin it inspired in the hearts of mortals, and each one answered with chilling candor. One demon confessed that it stirred anger within men, inciting them to acts of fratricide, driving them to kill their own brothers. Another revealed that it caused women to abandon their homes and husbands, consumed by insatiable lust. Still another admitted to infiltrating the dreams of kings, filling their minds with paranoia and unchecked pride, ultimately leading them to wage wars and spill innocent blood. Think about that for a moment. These were not mere ghosts or spectral phantoms designed to evoke fear or terror. They were personifications of the very human struggles that plague our existence: envy, greed, lust, rage, fear, despair. Does that not sound eerily familiar? Is that not the same internal war that we continue to wage within ourselves? To this very day, one demon was said to inflict sickness upon the eyes, causing blindness, cataracts, and other debilitating conditions that the ancients were unable to comprehend. Another tormented innocent children with excruciating fevers, robbing them of their health and vitality. Still another whispered suicidal thoughts into the minds of men standing at the precipice of cliffs, tempting them to end their own lives. Another demon fueled merchants with insatiable greed, transforming fair trade into ruthless exploitation. And one of the most chilling confessions came from a demon who admitted that it lingered around altars, corrupting even acts of worship, the very essence of devotion. He stated, "Where incense is burned there, I render men's prayers empty, twisting their words before they ever reach the heavens." Now let me pause and ask you, does that not strike you to the core of your being? How often do we relegate the concept of evil to the realm of the external, perceiving it as something that exists solely outside of ourselves? But what if it lurks even in moments we perceive as sacred, tainting our most sincere efforts? What if distractions during prayer, insincerity in worship, or hidden pride in acts of service are merely subtle manifestations of these same malevolent forces at work in our lives today? So Solomon meticulously cataloged each demon, documenting their individual attributes and weaknesses. 72 distinct voices, each confessing its unique form of corruption, its particular method of undermining human virtue. And with the power of the ring, he compelled them into obedience, forcing them to comply with his commands. Some were tasked with lifting massive stones for the construction of the temple, while others were forced to excavate the foundation. Some carved intricate woodwork, while others meticulously cut and polished precious gems. But here lies the central question: did Solomon truly possess dominion over them, a genuine and unwavering authority? Or was he merely holding them back temporarily, like snakes coiled within jars, waiting for the opportune moment to strike? Because while they labored, they continued to whisper amongst themselves, their resentment simmering beneath the surface. They cursed his name, vowing vengeance for their forced servitude. They meticulously studied his weaknesses, seeking out any vulnerability they could exploit. They learned his patterns, anticipating his every move. And most of all, they waited patiently, biding their time. The ring, after all, was the key to their captivity. As long as it blazed with divine authority, they remained bound. But if Solomon's heart strayed from its divine course, if his loyalty to God wavered even for a moment, then the seal would inevitably lose its radiant glow and their opportunity would arise. And that is precisely what transpired. The shift was almost imperceptible at first, more a dimming of the soul than of the ring. A compromise here, an idol there, a prayer spoken from habit instead of hunger. Slowly, the fire that once roared in the Solomon spirit faded to embers, and with it the brilliance of the seal began to flicker. What had once blazed with unmistakable authority now glowed like a dying coal. In the unseen realm, the 72 felt it instantly. Chains that had long burned their wrists now felt lighter. The invisible fetters that held them in place began to loosen one click at a time. Their whispers grew bolder. Their laughter, once low and restrained, swelled into a chorus of mockery. "The king's heart is divided," they hissed. "His worship is shared. His fear of God is diluted. The seal is cracking." One night, as Solomon stood alone in one of his many courts, torn between the incense of Yahweh and the smoke of foreign altars, the ring on his finger flashed once and went dark. Not entirely, not yet, but enough. Enough for something ancient and hateful to push back. The air thickened. Shadows along the colonnades lengthened, twisting into shapes that did not belong to stone or torchlight. The ground seemed to breathe. From the depths beneath the temple and the far reaches of the unseen, the 72 rose not as obedient laborers, but as liberated captors reclaiming their vengeance. Their forms coiled around the city like smoke, seeping into houses, dreams, thoughts. Jerusalem slept unaware that the very powers that had lifted stones for the temple were now stalking its streets. And somewhere far above, beyond the veil of stars, a familiar sword left its sheath. Michael had been here before, summoned not by Solomon's authority, but by God's mercy. This would not be a battle over stone or gold, but over a man's soul and a nation's future. Because when a king loses his ring, someone else has to stand between his failure and the darkness waiting to devour everything he was called to protect. So as we draw this exploration of Solomon and the 72 demons to a close, I hope you've seen how this ancient tale resonates far beyond the pages of forgotten texts. It's not just about a king, a ring, and a celestial battle. It's about the constant tug of war within ourselves, the ever-present temptation to stray from our chosen path, and the importance of unwavering faith in the face of immense darkness. Ultimately, Solomon's story is a potent reminder that even the wisest among us are vulnerable, and that true strength lies not in power or control, but in the unwavering pursuit of righteousness. It speaks to the power of humility, the danger of complacency, and the enduring need for divine intervention in our lives. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What resonated most with you? Did anything surprise you? What questions does this mystery spark in your mind? Please leave a comment below. I'm genuinely interested in hearing your perspective and joining in the conversation. And if you found this journey into Bible mysteries intriguing and want to delve deeper into more of these obscured and often forgotten narratives, then please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell. That way, you won't miss out on our next exploration into the enigmatic space between the divine, the angelic, and the fallen. Thanks for joining me.